Hi, this is a bit of an update on my channel about a bit of news that's affected a lot of people about Netflix blocks VPN services. It's a real big crackdown. You can see this advertisement in the Australian press here that it's having quite a big effect on their subscribers. But basically, we've seen this over the years that most of the media giants have tried to block access to VPNs and proxies. They kind of done it on a ad hoc basis. They've tried to identify ranges of IPs and they've blocked them, and then some work, some don't work. It's never really been that effective because of this simple sort of blacklist of individual VPN IP addresses. What happens is the VPN services swap the addresses round and it all starts working again. So we've never really taken it very seriously until this. Netflix has blocked VPNs almost completely and totally. We're in July 2016 now, and if you look around, it's very hard to find a VPN provider that still works with Netflix. Some still say they do, but very, very, very few do. I've got about a dozen VPN clients that I use intermittently. Only one of those works anymore. So I'm going to show you the one that does work, and I'm going to briefly explain how it's got what's happening with this. Right, let me just close this browser. Here's what happens. You get this error, streaming error, when you try and access Netflix now using either a proxy or a VPN service. So if you're in Australia, you want to access the US version of Netflix, you fire up your VPN service, you start to play, you'll get this. Nearly everybody's getting this. Tens, hundreds of thousands of people have been blocked overnight. It's big news. Especially because a lot of the local versions of Netflix are just not that good. The US one is just so much better than most of the ones outside the US. The only one that's possibly comparable is the UK's very good. Japanese one's improving, but they're not in the same league as the US. I'm in the UK. I always use the US version of Netflix as well. So Netflix blocks VPNs. How do I stop it? Let me just show you. Here's the VPN client I use. It's called Identity Cloaker. They got hit just the same with the Netflix VPN block, but they've updated the client and they've updated the infrastructure. The way Netflix is blocking VPNs is basically there are two categories of IP address: residential, the ones you get from your ISP, and commercial, which are the IP addresses you'll find in data centers, on websites and stuff like that. Netflix has blocked access to all commercial IP addresses, so it's just wiped them out totally. It only allows the IP addresses that's come from residential blocks, which are allocated from the ISP. What Identity Cloaker has done is included some of these IP addresses in its infrastructure, and if it doesn't use them for everything, it just uses them for Netflix. What happens is when you connect to, say, the US VPN server, if you try and connect to Netflix, it reroutes your connection through one of these residential IP addresses, and then they'll go through. So let me just show you quickly working. I've had to block out all these IP addresses. It's kind of a paranoid world now. But I've connected to a US server now. I'm in the UK. I'm going through a US VPN server. I'm going to start my client here. And then I'm going to go to Netflix. Here's Netflix. Of course, now my internet connection is going through the UK. Just start Netflix. It's going through the UK and going through one of Identity Cloaker's US servers. And you can see here it's gone through straight to Netflix. I was just logged on before, so... and here we are. We're on the US version of Netflix. You can see all these different stuff here. And I will show you how it works. Now, you normally get the streaming message when you first start streaming with you. I'm going to just try and stream something. Nothing too controversial. You've got to be a bit careful with putting Netflix stuff on YouTube. Let me just find something that's not that important. There we go. Let's just click this here. And it's then going to stream through one of the residential servers, one of Identity Cloaker's residential servers. So this has a residential IP address. It's a little bit of a delay because it's switching VPN servers just for Netflix. and you can see it starting there. Now I'm going to stop it. Apologies, I haven't streamed it very far, but YouTube tend to clamp down on copyright thing. That streams perfectly. It's streaming through the US server through a residential IP address, and that's the key factor here. If it's not a residential IP address, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. This is why there's, I think, maybe 2-3 VPN clients that still work. Problems are residential IP address are really expensive. Identicloaker's services cost the same at the moment. At the moment, though, I should point out that it's only the US version of Netflix is supported. You can still access some the UK as well, but they haven't implemented that fix for this now. So it's really focused on the US. They've said to me that they will expand it to other versions, but it's quite expensive. These residential IP addresses are expensive. It costs a lot of money to implement it into the service. So at the moment, they've stuck with US. If they get the demand, they'll switch it to others and see how they go from there. Okay, I'm going to finish now. I'm just going to close that. But hey, Netflix blocks VPN. Get Identity Cloaker. There's a discount code somewhere on the screen where you can get a trial. Just see if it works. Don't believe me? Try it out yourself for the cost of a coffee. You can try it for 10 days. So thanks for listening. Bye-bye.